Welcome back to hour number one of What's Cooking Today, the nation's food, wine, restaurant, and travel show. I'm Michael Horn along with Paul Stern here on today's edition. And, Paul, you're kind of a finance guy. I mean, your family, a long line of people that check out the stock market, see what's going on, aren't you?
Yes, invested in the market for many years, long-time investors, people watching the stock market, the Dow Jones, making hopefully going up, but often it seems as of late going down.
Yeah, up and down, who knows? Well, we've got from Charles Schwab, Tad Fryers here. He's the Vice President and Office Manager at Chuck Schwab there, and you talk to Chuck, that's Charles Schwab. Welcome, Tad Fryer, to the broadcast.
Great to be on with you this morning.
All right, so give us the advice here. Do we invest in oil right now, specifically in British Petroleum and BP? What's your thoughts?
Well, I'll tell you what, my thoughts are that making a decision on an individual stock purchase based upon news like that can have a lot of risk. The way we look at it is the most important thing you can do before you make an investment decision is to know yourself and know how risk tolerant you are. And this has been really brought home to a lot of us as investors and as people in this business recently because, again, here's another example of what can happen if you put too much into one investment. When risk is kind of one of those subjective words like beauty, it means different things to different people. But if you had invested in BP at the top and put all of your assets into that, you'd be an unhappy investor today.
Exactly. So how do you avoid that? I mean, come on, I'm one of those loser investors that know nothing. I'm a Charter Cable stockholder. Look at this stuff. Worthless paper right now. The company went under and reorganized, and in my stock investment, nothing. But yet, because I was in the industry thinking, wow, I'm getting in on the ground floor of a cable giant, and I'm going to be there, and then all the stuff hits the fan, and the stock tanks, and the next thing you know, you're penniless. How do you know what to do?
Number one, develop a plan and stick to it, and that is absolutely vital. Know what kind of investor you are. Know the kind of risk that you can take. The first principle that we're going to be talking to you about is asset allocation, which goes beyond not putting all of your eggs in one basket. It also goes to how much do you have allocated to stock, to bond, to cash, perhaps to alternative investments. The greatest safety in the long term, as well as the best opportunity for return, is going to come from being diversified and having the right combination of those asset classes for you, the individual investor.
Paul, you're I think Paul is much stronger at this than I am as far as, do you have a plan? I mean, do you come up with a plan when you do investing?
Well, I think the plan is that you leave it to the professionals that have done a lot of research. They know the companies that they're dealing with. They often have actually gone and visited the companies before they make any kind of a purchase to, again, best know what it is that they're doing for their clients. Is that kind of the way things are done at Charles Schwab?
Absolutely. More and more people, especially after the last decade and the volatility that we have had, have come to a point of realizing that money is a very emotional topic, and emotion drives rash decisions, and that employing a professional, working with someone who understands you and what's important to you and your risk tolerance, who's going to stay with you, help you stay on your plan, makes a great deal more sense than trying to pick winners.
So Tad Fryer's with us. He's the Vice President and Office Manager at Charles Schwab. We're talking investing here. And so this market right now, for years I see gold was sitting there at around $300, $400 and think, oh, that's kind of expensive, $300, $400. You would have bought that now. What is it now, $1,000, $1,100, going up to new highs all the time? And then they say it's a gold market. Does that mean you stay away from stocks when it's a gold market? Or what do you do? How do you know?
One thing that I will say about that, I mean, we don't have a crystal ball. No one knows what the future price of any of this is. But
Warren Buffett does. Everybody's paying millions of dollars. You see that in some, they did a charity auction and people spend millions of dollars just to have lunch with Warren Buffett to see what he's going to say.
Interesting. This year they decided to remain anonymous.
Exactly. Who do you think that was?
No idea. No idea.
But President Barack Obama, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm
just kidding. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
No, but you really bring up an important point because gold has been getting a lot of publicity, and we don't know whether this is the bottom for this year or the top or for next year or whatever. But it brings up the importance of, again, not putting all of your eggs in one basket and having an appropriate asset allocation. You're never going to hear us come out and say put it all in any one place. Reason being is that history has shown us that rarely is the right thing to do, whatever the asset class is.
Hasn't history also shown us that the stock market has gone up over time?
Yes, it has. And again, it really depends upon what you're looking at with that. But if you pick an index like the S&P 500 and you look back over the long term, certainly the long-term trend has been up. That's not to say, though, that there haven't been some disquieting drops. We've lived through a few of them recently, which really, again, points out the need to have certainly some representation in that asset class of stocks. This is appropriate for you and your risk tolerance, but also to have representation in other asset classes that can buffer you a little bit from some of the volatility.
Here's the thing, Tad Fryer, and I think I'm going to throw this out at you here. You're the Vice President, Office Manager, Charles Schwab. You follow me. You let me just do what I'm doing, and you just advise everybody to stay away from things. I mean, my history, Charter Communications, here's another. Sirius Satellite Radio tanked when Howard Stern came in there. They gave him all that stock. What else? The Disney company almost went under when I invested in it. At Time Warner Cable, luckily they rebounded somewhat on there. I mean, this is serious stuff. You want to watch out on whatever I invest in.
You're saying that we should be a contrarian to you.
That's what I'm thinking, possibly.
You might want to have your own index.
I might want to. Don't invest here. Where can we get more information? What's your website?
Schwab.com.
SCHWAB. There's your Schwab. Listen to what Chuck says. Schwab.com. Tad Fryer, you're welcome here on the show any old time. Thanks for being with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I don't know whether we helped anybody, Paul Stern, but I certainly feel better about my losses. I think I just say you really have
the Mike Horn Index. That one's going to be keyed into all the computers over there at Charles Schwab.
It's in the tank, man. I just got to see what I'm investing in. Ford Motor Company, Eric in our office invested in that. Look at it. The company's turned around. You don't want me throwing money in there. As soon as I do, the company will tank. I'll tell you right there. We'll be back straight ahead. What's cooking today? Listeners, when you come to Southern California,